My daughter walked into the kitchen with no expression on her face. She didn't speak. She didn't blink. She only placed a pregnancy test on the counter. And before I could even take a breath, she looked straight at me and said something that shook my whole world and changed our relationship in one single moment. When Maya put that test on the counter, my hands stopped moving. I felt like the whole house went silent at once. The fridge was still humming, but I couldn't hear anything else. The word pregnant on that tiny screen looked so small, but it felt like a heavy stone in my chest. I stared at it like it was something from a different world. I wanted to believe I was dreaming, but I wasn't. This was real. Too real. Subscribe now and stay with us for more real and powerful stories. I looked at Maya, my daughter, my bright, strong, confident girl. But she didn't look like herself. Her eyes were empty. Her face had no color. Her shoulders were stiff like she was holding every emotion inside her body, not letting a single one escape. It scared me more than the test did. She wasn't crying. She wasn't shaking. She wasn't even breathing fast. She looked like someone who had already been through a storm and was now standing in the middle of the wreckage. Then she said, those words. Those heavy, cold words. Mom, I need your help with something. A big thing. A hard thing. She didn't say more, but I knew what she meant. I felt the meaning in the way her voice broke at the end of the sentence. I felt it in the way she held her fingers tight like she was scared they would fall apart. I felt it in the way she did not make eye contact. Like she didn't want to see my reaction. Or maybe she didn't want me to see how hurt she really was inside. My stomach twisted. My throat went dry. I wanted to say something, but nothing came out. I opened my mouth, but no sound happened. It was like the shock locked every word inside me. I felt like I had failed her somehow. Like I should have seen this coming. Like I should have known more. Like I should have been closer, stronger, wiser. But I wasn't any of those things in that moment. I was just a mother staring at her daughter and feeling the floor drop under her feet. I tried to step closer, but she stepped back. Not fast, but enough. Enough for me to know she was scared of something. Maybe my reaction. Maybe the world. Maybe herself. I didn't know. I wanted to hold her, but her body said, not now. So I stopped. My hands felt useless. My heart felt too loud. For years, I believed Maya told me everything. We were a team. We laughed together. We argued sometimes, sure. But we always came back to each other. We had a bond I trusted with my whole soul. But right now, looking at her like this, I felt a distance I had never felt before. A gap. A crack. Something that wasn't there yesterday. And that scared me even more. My mind was running fast. But my body felt frozen. I kept staring at Maya, trying to read her face, trying to find something familiar in her eyes. But she looked like she had locked herself behind a door I didn't have the key to. I wanted to ask her 100 questions. How did this happen? When did she find out? Why didn't she come to me sooner? But the look on her face told me to stay quiet. She was holding herself together with thin, fragile threads, and one wrong word from me could break her. She took a slow breath. Her hands were shaking now. Just a little, but I saw it. Mom, I don't want this to ruin my life, she whispered. Her voice was small. It sounded nothing like the strong girl, who always planned everything months ahead. It sounded like a child trying to protect herself. I felt my heart squeeze. Maya, sit down, I said softly. She hesitated, but she pulled out a chair and sat. I sat across from her, the test lying between us like a wall. A wall neither of us knew how to break. I folded my hands together to keep them from shaking. I didn't want her to see how scared I was. I didn't want her to think she had to face this alone. When did you find out? I asked in a calm voice. 3 days ago, she said. 3 days? I repeated. My voice cracked before I could stop it. She nodded. I didn't. I know how to tell you. I kept trying. Then I stopped trying. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't eat. I just kept thinking about everything. Her words were simple, but I felt the pain behind them. She had been carrying this alone for 3 days. 3 long days. I hated that thought. I hated that she didn't come to me first. But I didn't say that. This moment wasn't about my feelings. It was about hers. Maya, why didn't you talk to me? I asked gently. She looked away. Because I thought you would be disappointed, or angry, or hurt. And I can't handle that right now. I already feel like I messed up everything. My chest tightened. Hearing her say that hurt more than anything. I had always tried to be a safe place for her, a home she could always come back to. But right now, she didn't see me that way. She saw me as another weight she couldn't carry. I leaned forward a little. Listen to me. I'm not angry with you. I'm scared. Yes. And shocked. But not angry. You didn't ruin anything. You're still my daughter. You're still you. Her eyes filled with tears, but she blinked fast, trying to push them back. She didn't want to cry. She wanted to stay in control. She wanted to look strong, even though everything inside her was falling apart. She whispered, I have to make a big choice, Mom. A really hard one. And I can't do it alone. Those words hit me hard. This wasn't just a mistake. This wasn't just a moment of panic. This was a crossroads in her life. A place where everything changes. She wasn't asking for permission. She was asking for support. Quiet, scared, serious support. I nodded slowly. Okay. I'm here. We will think. We will talk. We will face this together. And for the first time since she walked in, I saw something in her eyes soften. Just a little. But it was enough for me to breathe again. Maya wiped the corner of her eye with her sleeve. She didn't cry fully. But I could see her, fighting it. She took a deep breath and looked at the table. Not at me. The silence felt heavy, like a thick blanket we couldn't push away. I wanted to reach across the table and hold her hands, but I didn't want to scare her or make her shut down again. So I waited. I let her take her time. Mom, she said quietly, I don't want my whole future to fall apart. I worked so hard for everything. College, my plans, all of it. I feel like it's slipping from my hands. I nodded slowly. I know you worked hard. And I know this feels huge. But nothing is slipping away. Not as long as we think clearly and talk honestly. She finally looked up at me. Her eyes were glassy, scared, and tired. I need to make a decision. A big decision. And it's not easy. I feel lost. I feel trapped. I feel like there's pressure coming from every side. Her voice cracked. I just want to breathe again. Those words broke me. I remembered her as a little girl when she fell off her bike. I carried her. When kids at school were mean, I held her while she cried. When she failed a test, I helped her study all night. I always knew how to protect her. But now she was older, standing at a point in life where I couldn't fix things with a bandage or a hug. You're not alone, I said softly. You don't have to carry this by yourself. She nodded weakly. I know. That's why I'm here. That's why I told you. Because I need help. Real help. And I trust you. Hearing her say she trusted me gave me a little strength. I took a deep breath and gathered my thoughts. I didn't want to say something wrong. I didn't want to push her. I wanted to be steady for her. Like an anchor. Maya, I said gently. Whatever choice you make, I want it to be your choice. Not something made out of fear. Not something rushed. A clear choice. She nodded again. this time slower. I know. I've been thinking about it non-stop. I haven't slept. Every thought hurts. Every moment feels heavy. I just want to get out of this feeling. I could hear the pain in her voice. I could feel the weight she had been carrying alone. Tell me what you need from me, I said. She took a long breath. Her fingers tightened around each other. I need you to support me, she whispered. I need you to stand with me while I take the next step. A big step. A hard step. I can't do it alone. Her words were soft, but firm. She had made up her mind about something. She wasn't asking for my permission. She was asking for my strength, for my presence, for my love. I nodded. I'm here. I will stay with you. We will face whatever comes. One day at a time. Maya finally let out a shaky breath. For the first time since she walked in, her shoulders relaxed a little. She looked tired, but not frozen anymore. The fear was still in her eyes, but it wasn't alone now. There was trust, too. In that moment, something changed. The distance between us began to shrink. The wall wasn't gone, but a crack had opened. A place where light could get through. And I knew this was only the beginning of a long journey neither of us expected, but one we would walk together. The next morning, the house felt quieter than usual. Maya came downstairs slowly. Her steps were soft, like she didn't want the floor to hear her. She sat at the table and stared at her hands. I watched her from the stove. I didn't want to push her, but I also didn't want to act like nothing had happened. We were both moving carefully, like the air around us might break. Did you sleep? I asked gently. A little, she said. Her voice was low. Not much. I nodded. It's okay. Your mind is full. Anyone would feel the same. She didn't answer. She only picked at her sleeve. I placed a cup of tea in front of her. She wrapped her hands around it, like she needed the warmth to keep herself steady. After a long moment, she spoke. Mom, I need to know something. What is it? Are you disappointed in me? Her question hit me hard. I could see how much courage it took her to say it. She looked scared of my answer. I sat down across from her. No, I said. I'm not disappointed in you. I'm worried. I'm sad that you're hurting. But disappointed? Never. She swallowed. Her eyes softened a little. I feel like I messed everything up. You made a mistake, I said softly. But mistakes don't erase your future. They don't erase who you are. They don't erase how much you've worked. She looked down. It feels like they do. I shook my head. No. Life doesn't end here. This is a hard moment. But it's not the end of your story. She took a slow breath. I want to move forward, Mom. I don't want to stay stuck in this fear. I want to make a choice and take the next step. I nodded. I understand. She sipped her tea. I don't want to wait anymore. I've been scared for days already. I just want to talk to someone. Someone who knows how to guide people. You mean a counselor? She nodded firmly. Yes. Someone who can help me think clearly. I could see she had thought about this. Her eyes showed fear, but also a small bit of focus. She wanted help. She wanted clarity. She wanted to breathe again. All right, I said. We'll do that today. She looked up with a mix of relief and fear. Today? Yes, I said. Today. You shouldn't carry this alone for one more day. A small tear rolled down her cheek. She wiped it fast, but I saw it. Thank you, she whispered. I placed my hand on the table. I didn't grab hers. I let her choose. After a second, she slowly placed her hand on mine. Her fingers were cold, but her grip was tight. And for a moment, we just sat there, holding on to each other, trying to find strength in the middle of everything. We got ready to leave the house around noon. Maya moved, slowly, like every step felt heavy. She wore a hoodie, even though it wasn't cold. She kept pulling the sleeves over her hands. I knew it was her way of hiding when she felt scared. I didn't say anything. I just grabbed my keys and waited near the door. When we sat in the car, she let out a shaky breath. "Mom, do you think she will judge me?" she asked. "No," I said. "Counselors are there to listen, not judge. Their job is to help you think clearly." She nodded, but her hands were still tight. I could see her legs shaking. The drive was quiet. The world outside looked normal: kids on bikes, people walking dogs, cars passing. But inside the car, everything felt tense, heavy, different. Halfway there, Maya finally spoke again. "What if she tells me I made everything worse?" "She won't," I said softly. "She will listen. She will ask questions. She will help you understand your own feelings." Maya stared out the window. "I feel scared all the time. I wake up scared. I go to sleep scared. It's like the fear is inside my body." "I know," I said, "but you're taking the right step today. You're choosing to face it, not hide from it." She didn't answer, but she leaned her head against the seat and closed her eyes for a moment. When we reached the center, she opened them slowly. She looked at the building like it was a mountain she wasn't sure she could climb. "We can sit for a minute," I said. She nodded. We stayed in the car for a short moment. She kept breathing in and out, trying to calm herself. Then she whispered, "Okay, let's go." Inside, the waiting room was warm and quiet. Soft colors, calm music. Maya sat beside me, but her body was stiff. She didn't take off her hoodie. She didn't look around. She just stared at the floor. A lady at the front desk smiled kindly. "You must be Maya." Maya nodded without lifting her eyes. "She can wait here," the lady said to me. "And you can join her after the session if needed." Maya looked at me fast. "Will you stay?" "I'll be right here," I said. "I'm not going anywhere." She let out a small breath and followed the counselor into the room. End of the room. The door closed behind her, and I finally felt the weight of everything. I sat there, hands in my lap, staring at the same closed door she had walked through. My heart felt like it was beating too fast. I wanted to protect her. I wanted to fix everything. But right now, I had to trust her. I had to trust the counselor. I had to trust the process. Minutes passed slowly. 5, 10, 15. I kept looking at the door, waiting for it to open. Waiting to see her face. Waiting to know whether she was okay. And for the first time in days, I felt something small. Hope. Maybe this would help her breathe again. Maybe this would help us both. After almost 40 minutes, the door finally opened. Maya stepped out slowly. Her eyes looked tired, but different. Softer. Not empty like before. She walked toward me, and I stood up right away. "You okay?" I asked gently. She nodded. "Yeah, I think so." The counselor came out behind her and gave me a small smile. "She did well," she said softly. "Give her space to think, and let her talk when she's ready." I thanked her, and Maya and I walked out of the center together. The sun outside was bright, but she squinted like she hadn't seen daylight in weeks. We reached the car, and she sat down quietly. I didn't start the engine right away. I waited. After a few seconds, she spoke. She asked me about my feelings, Maya said. Not the situation. Not the mistake. Just my feelings. "That's good," I said. "And she didn't judge me," Maya added quickly. She didn't act shocked. She didn't make me feel stupid. I nodded. Because you're not stupid. Maya let her head fall back onto the seat. I thought she would tell me I was wrong, or that I ruined everything. But she didn't. What did she say? I asked calmly. She said I'm overwhelmed, Maya whispered. She said anyone my age would feel lost. She said it's okay to be scared. She said it's okay to feel sad and confused. Her voice shook a little. She said, I need to make a clear choice. A choice I can live with. A choice I can carry. I could tell those words hit her deeply. She looked down at her hands again. I told her I wanted to take a step, Maya said softly. A hard step. The one I talked to you about. My chest tightened, but I kept my face calm. And what did she say? She said, if that's what I choose, then it should come from my heart. Not fear. Not pressure. Not panic. My heart. I nodded slowly. She's right. Maya looked at me. Mom, she also said something else. What? She said, I don't have to do this alone. She said, support matters. She said what I feel after will depend on who stands with me. Her voice got small. So, will you stand with me? For real? I reached out and held her hand. This time, she didn't pull away. Her fingers wrapped around mine like she was holding onto something solid for the first time in days. I'm here, I said, softly. I'll stand with you through all of it. I won't let you face anything alone. A tear finally slipped down her cheek. This time she didn't hide it. She let it fall. I'm scared, she whispered. I know, I said. But you're not weak. You're brave. You came forward. You asked for help. That's strength. She took a deep breath. Her shoulders relaxed a little. I want to move forward, Mom. I want to take the next step. We will, I said. Together. I finally started the car. As we drove home, Maya leaned her head against the window. She looked tired, but lighter. She didn't look frozen anymore. And for the first time, it felt like she was beginning to find her way back to herself. Make sure to subscribe. Every new twist of this story is coming next. The next few days felt strange. Not bad. Not loud. Just strange. Maya walked around the house quietly. She wasn't hiding anymore. But she wasn't her normal self either. She spent a lot of time in her room, just thinking. I didn't push her. I gave her space. But I also checked on her now and then with soft knocks on her door. On the third morning, she came downstairs with a small notebook in her hand. She sat at the table and placed it in front of her. Mom, she said, I wrote some things. Can I see? I asked. She nodded. I opened the notebook. Inside, she had made 2 lists. One said, what I feel. The other said, what I want. The first list had words like scared, sad, confused, stuck, lost, worried about college. The second list had only 3 words. Peace, future control. My heart ached reading it. She didn't write long sentences. She didn't explain anything. She just wrote the truth in simple words. Strong words. Heavy words. You wrote this by yourself? I asked. She nodded. The counselor told me to do it. She said writing helps people see what they're really feeling. It's good, I said. It's honest. She took a slow breath. Mom, the truth is, I still want to take that hard step. The same step I talked about before. I'm not changing my mind. I just don't want to rush. I want to handle it the right way. I nodded. I understand. I don't want to break down later, she said. I want to be ready. I want to be sure. I want to feel steady. You will, I said softly. And I'm here. Every day. Every step. She gave a small nod, then looked at the notebook again. The counselor said I should think about my future. Really think. Not with panic. Not with fear. With a clear mind. That's smart, I said. So, I started doing that. She pulled out a college brochure from her hoodie pocket, the same one she used to look at with bright eyes months ago. She placed it on the table between us. I still want this, she whispered. I still want that life. That dream. That path. I want to go to college. I want to be a doctor. I want to help people one day. And you will, I said. Her voice shook. But if I don't take the step I'm planning, then everything will change. Everything will stop. And I'm not ready for that. I'm not strong enough for that. She wasn't angry this time. She wasn't cold. She wasn't hiding behind a wall. She was just honest. Raw. Human. And it hurt to see her hurting. I took a deep breath. Okay. Then let's plan calmly. Let's think clearly. Let's do this step by step. She nodded slowly. I want that. For the first time. She didn't look lost. She looked focused, scared, yes, but focused. And that gave me hope. The next day, Maya asked if we could go for a drive. Not far. Just around the neighborhood. I said yes, right away. I knew she needed air. She needed space to think. But she also didn't want to be alone. We drove with the windows half open. The wind was soft. The sky was clear. It felt like the world was normal, even though our world wasn't. Maya kept her eyes on the passing trees. Mom, she said, I keep thinking about the counselor's words. Which part? I asked. She said big choices can hurt, Maya replied. Even the right ones. Even the ones you choose for yourself. I nodded. She's right. She said I might feel sad later, or angry, or relieved, or all three. She sighed. And that's okay. Yes, I said. She sighed. She sighed. We're all Manasa. She sighed. 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 Feelings don't make you wrong. They make you human. She rubbed her thumb on the edge of her seat. I don't want to pretend I'm okay. I don't want to hide it. I want to face it the right way. That's brave, I said softly. Most people hide from hard feelings. She looked at me. I'm tired of hiding. For a moment, neither of us spoke. The quiet wasn't awkward. It was soft and real. Then she said, Mom, I want to talk about the next step. My hands tightened on the steering wheel. I kept my voice calm. Okay. Tell me. I want to do it soon, she said. Not because I'm rushing, but because thinking about it for too long makes me feel trapped. I want to move forward. I want to breathe again. I nodded. I understand. And she paused. I want you with me. I don't want to go alone. I don't want to sit in a room alone. I don't want to walk through doors alone. I need you there. I'll be there, I said softly. Every second. Her eyes softened. Thank you. We kept driving. The road was empty, and the air felt lighter than before. After a few minutes, she spoke again. The counselor said, I should talk about the father. At least once. Just to be honest with myself. I didn't push her. I just waited. It wasn't a serious thing, she said finally. We weren't in a real relationship. It happened fast. It ended fast. I stayed quiet, letting her speak at her own pace. He doesn't know, she continued. And I don't want him to know. Not because I hate him, but because this is my life, my future. And I don't want another voice in my head right now. That's your choice, I said. You don't owe him anything. She looked out the window again. I'm not angry at him. I'm angry at myself. I should have been more careful. I should have thought. You're 18, I said softly. You're still learning. You're, we all make mistakes. She closed her eyes for a moment. I just want to fix my life. Mom, I want to get back on track. You will, I said. This moment doesn't erase your future. She let out a long breath. I hope so. It will, I said. Because you're strong. And because you're choosing your path. She didn't speak, again. But she reached over and held my hand. And that simple touch told me she wasn't walking in fear anymore. She was walking with purpose. When we reached home, Maya went straight to her room. After a few minutes, she called me softly. Mom, can you come here? I walked in and found her sitting on the floor against her bed. She had papers spread around her college forms, schedules, notes, everything she had planned for months. She looked up at me with tired eyes. I was looking at all this, she said, and I realized something. What? I asked gently. I still want this life, she whispered. I still want to go to college. I still want to study medicine. I still want to follow my dreams. That part of me didn't disappear. I sat beside her. It didn't. And it won't. She brushed her fingers over a page. But I can't move forward while I feel stuck. I can't focus on school. I can't focus on anything. My chest feels tight all day. I know, I said. She took a deep breath. That's why I want to take the next step soon. Not because I'm running, but because I want to stand again. I want my mind clear. I want to be free of this weight. She looked at me carefully, like she was scared of my reaction. Mom, are you sure you're okay with this? I held her hand. I don't control your future. I don't choose for you. I stand with you. That's what I'm sure about. Her eyes softened. I don't want to lose you. I don't want you to think I'm choosing something against you. You're not choosing against me, I said. You're choosing for yourself. And that's what matters. She rested her head on my shoulder, something she hadn't done in days. Thank you, she whispered. I feel safer when you say that. We sat in silence for a moment, a soft, warm silence. Then she lifted her head and wiped her eyes. The counselor told me to think about how I want the next few days to go, Maya said. She said planning helps stop panic. She's right, I said. So, I started planning, Maya continued. She pulled out a small notebook. Inside, she had written a simple plan. Talk to Mom. Choose a day. Prepare mentally. Have support after rest. Focus on healing. I wrote it in small steps, she said. I don't want to think of everything at once. That's smart, I told her. She looked nervous. Can we choose a day together? I don't want to do it alone. Of course, I said. She took a shaky breath. Maybe this week. Not too soon. Not too late. Just enough time to breathe. We can do that, I said. Whatever feels right for you. Maya looked around her room. The sunlight coming through the window hit her face gently. She didn't look frozen anymore. 40 number. She didn't look like the girl who walked into the kitchen with empty eyes. She looked scared. Yes, but also brave. Brave in a quiet way. I think I'm ready to move forward, she whispered. I squeezed her hand. Then I'm ready too. She leaned against me again, and for the first time in days, she felt steady. Not perfect, not healed, but steady. And that was enough to begin the next chapter. The week she chose came faster than we expected. Each day felt slow, but the week itself felt fast. Maya tried to stay busy. She cleaned her room. She studied a little. She watched shows in silence. She kept her hands moving, but her mind was always far away. I could see it in her eyes. One evening, she came downstairs holding her notebook again. "Mom," she said, "I think I'm ready." Her voice was soft, but steady. Not shaking, not hiding, just honest. "Okay," I said. "Let's talk." We sat on the couch. She opened the notebook and showed me a new page. It said, "Day chosen. Stay calm, drink water, talk with Mom before we leave. Take deep breaths. Focus on healing after rest. This is my plan," she said. "I want everything to be gentle. I don't want to feel rushed." "That's good," I said. "Gentle is important." She looked at her hands. The counselor said, "The night before will be the hardest." She said I might feel scared. Or sad. Or both. "That's normal," I said. She nodded. "I'm starting to feel it already. It's like a heavy cloud." I moved a little closer. "You don't have to face that cloud alone." For a moment, she didn't speak. Then she said, "Can I sleep in your room tonight? Like when I was younger?" My heart warmed and hurt at the same time. "Of course," I said. That night, she came into my room with her blanket. She lay beside me quietly. The room was dark, and the only sound was her slow breathing. After a few minutes, she whispered, "Mom, do you ever wish things were different?" "Yes," I said honestly. "But wishing doesn't change life. What changes life is how we face the moments we get." She turned on her side toward me. "I feel guilty sometimes." "Why?" "Because I feel like I'm choosing myself. And that feels wrong." I touched her hair gently. "Choosing yourself is not wrong, it's brave." She took a deep breath. "I hope one day I can look back and know I made the right choice." "You will," I said softly. "Because you're thinking with care. You're not choosing out of anger. You're choosing out of honesty." She pulled the blanket closer to her chin. "I'm still scared." "I know," I whispered. "But fear doesn't mean you're weak. It means you understand how serious life is." She didn't answer after that. She just moved a little closer, until her head touched my shoulder. I felt her body relax slowly, like she had been carrying her own weight for too long. I stayed awake longer than she did. I watched her sleep. And in that moment, I realized something. She wasn't just my little girl anymore. She was a young woman making one of the hardest choices of her life. And all I could do was stand with her, hold her, guide her, and hope she felt safe. The next morning, Maya woke up early, earlier than she normally did. She sat at the edge of the bed, staring at the floor with a blank face. I could tell her mind was racing. I sat beside her slowly. "You okay?" I asked. She nodded, but her eyes told the truth. She was nervous, scared, heavy inside. "I didn't sleep much," she whispered. "My mind kept making circles." "That happens before a big step," I said. She took a breath. "Mom, today feels real. Before today I could pretend it wasn't happening. But now it's right in front of me." I put my hand on her back. "You don't have to be ready all at once. You just have to take one small step at a time." She nodded again. "I can do that." We went downstairs. The house felt extra quiet. Even the chairs and walls felt like they were watching us. Maya made tea, but her hands shook a little. Just enough for me to notice. While she sipped her tea, she said, "The counselor told me to say my feelings out loud today. She said it helps people not explode inside. Do you want to try?" I asked gently. She looked down at her cup. "Yeah." I waited. "I feel scared," she said. "I feel sad. I feel like I'm losing something I never held. I feel like I'm standing at a big door, and I'm afraid to open it." "But you're still standing," I said. She looked at me with soft eyes. Yeah, I'm still standing. For a moment, she looked almost peaceful. We sat in silence for a few minutes. Then she said, "Mom, can I ask you something? Anything. Do you think people will judge me?" The question hit me hard because I knew people could. Sometimes the world is cruel for no reason. They might, I said honestly, but their judgment doesn't decide your worth. She swallowed. I keep thinking about college, my future, my dreams, and then I think maybe I don't deserve them if I made a mistake. I leaned forward. Listen to me, Maya. Mistakes don't erase dreams. They just test how much you want them. Her eyes watered. I want them, Mom. I want them so much. Then keep moving, I said softly. Keep choosing the life you want. One choice doesn't define you. She wiped her eyes and nodded slowly. I'm trying. I really am. I know, I said. After breakfast, she went to her room to get ready. She didn't close the door all the way. It stayed half open, like she wanted the space but didn't want to be alone. I stood in the hallway and watched her tie her hair back. She stared at herself in the mirror for a long time. Not with guilt, not with shame, with courage. Small courage, quiet courage, but real courage. Then she turned and asked, Mom, can you stay close to me today? Even if I look calm? I'll stay beside you the whole time, I said. She gave a tiny, shaky smile. Okay. For the first time all morning, I saw a spark in her eyes. Not happiness, not strength, just trust. And that was enough to keep going. We left the house in the late morning. The sun was bright, but the day felt quiet, almost too quiet. Maya sat beside me in the car with her hands folded tightly in her lap. She wasn't shaking now. She wasn't crying. She was just serious, focused, like she had made peace with what she needed to do. Halfway through the drive, she whispered, Mom, can you play some music? Sure, I said. I played a calm song, something soft. The kind of song that doesn't pull you into sadness or force you into happiness. Just something steady. Maya looked out the window, watching trees and buildings pass by. Mom, she said after a minute, I know I'm not a kid anymore, but I still feel like one today. You're allowed to feel like that, I said. Being grown doesn't mean you face everything alone. She nodded slowly. Thank you for staying with me. I'll never leave you, I said. Not then, not now, not ever. She took a deep breath. I keep thinking about the moment I told you. I was so cold that day. I pushed you away. I don't know why. I do, I said softly. You were scared. And when people feel trapped, they act tough to protect themselves. She looked down. I didn't want to be tough. I just didn't know how to say the words. I understand. We drove for a few more minutes. Then she said something that broke my heart but also healed me at the same time. Mom, I'm glad you didn't yell at me. I'm glad you didn't leave the room. You stayed. You listened. You didn't make me feel like a bad person. You're not a bad person, I said firmly. You're someone who made a hard choice in a hard moment. She nodded and looked out the window again. But this time, she wasn't staring at nothing. She was thinking deeply, carefully, quietly. When we reached the Women's Center, Maya took a long breath. This is it, she whispered. Yes, I said gently. But you're not alone. We walked toward the entrance together. The ground felt heavy under our feet, like every step carried weight. But Maya didn't stop. She walked slowly, but with purpose. Her shoulders weren't stiff anymore. Her eyes weren't empty. She looked like someone who knew what she needed to do to protect her future. Just before we walked inside, she touched my hand. Mom? Yes? Do you think I'll feel okay after this? I held her hand tightly. I think you'll feel many things. Maybe sadness, maybe relief, maybe both. But you won't face any of it alone. She nodded. Okay. We stepped inside. The air was cold, and the building was quiet. People spoke in low voices. Maya sat down in a chair, breathing slowly. She didn't look at the floor. She didn't hide. She just sat tall, hands in her lap, waiting to move forward. A nurse came over and called her name gently. Maya looked at me. Fear flickered in her eyes, real fear, but she didn't run from it. I love you, Mom, she whispered. I love you more, I said. She stood up, and with one last deep breath, she followed the nurse. I sat in the waiting room, my hands shaking slightly, my heart heavy but strong. This moment wasn't easy, but it was a moment we faced together. As mother and daughter, as two people holding each other through a storm. We reached home in the late afternoon. The house felt calm, like it was waiting for her. Maya walked inside slowly. She took off her shoes, put her bag down, and sat on the couch without saying anything. I sat next to her quietly. I didn't want to push her to talk. I wanted her to speak when she felt ready. After a few minutes, she whispered, Mom, I feel empty and full at the same time. I don't know how to explain it. You don't have to explain everything. I said, just feel what you feel. She nodded. I feel lighter, but sad, and tired, but also peaceful, I think. That's normal, I said softly. She leaned back and closed her eyes. The counselor said, emotions might come in waves. She said, sometimes I might feel okay, then suddenly sad, then okay again. And that's all right. I told her, you're healing. Maya opened her eyes and looked at the ceiling. I keep thinking, will this moment change me forever? It might, I said honestly, but not in a bad way. Hard moments don't break people. They shape them. She took a deep breath. I don't want to become cold. I don't want this to make me hard. It won't, I said, because you feel everything deeply. You care. That's who you are. She looked at me with soft eyes. Mom, did I disappoint you? That question hit me like a knife. I shook my head fast. No, Maya. You scared me. You worried me. But you didn't disappoint me. Not once. She looked down. I thought you would see me differently. I see you exactly how I saw you before. I said. Smart. Brave. Human. Her hands relaxed. I thought you would be angry forever. I could never be angry forever, I said gently. Not with you. For a moment, she just sat there breathing slowly. Then she said, Mom, can I tell you something important? Of course. She swallowed. I know some people would say I took the wrong path. I know some would call me things. But I chose the path I believed I could survive. I chose the future I want. I know, I said, and that's what matters. She wiped her eyes softly. I didn't expect to feel relief, but I do. A soft kind of relief. Like I can breathe again. I touched her hand. That's what moving forward feels like. She nodded. Mom, will you stay with me tonight too? Yes, I said with a small smile. Every night, you need me. She leaned her head on my shoulder and sighed deeply. For the first time, it sounded like a peaceful sigh, not a scared one. After a while, she whispered, maybe the counselor was right. Maybe this is not the end of my story. Maybe it's just a chapter. It is just a chapter, I said, and your story is still long. For the first time that day, she smiled a small, soft smile. and that smile told me she was slowly stepping back into her life. The next few days were quiet, but not the painful kind of quiet. It was a soft, healing quiet. Maya spent most of her time resting in her room or sitting with me in the living room. She drank warm tea, watched old shows, and wrote in her notebook. She didn't talk much at first, but she didn't close herself off either. She was opening slowly, like a flower after a storm. On the third morning, she came downstairs with a little more energy. Not a lot, but more than before. She sat at the table and said, "Mom, I think I'm getting better." I smiled. "I can see that." She played with the edge of her sleeve. "I still feel sad sometimes, but it's not drowning me now. It's just there. That's part of healing," I said. She nodded. "Yeah." After breakfast, she went to her room and brought out the stack of college brochures she used to love. She placed them on the table in front of me. "I want to look at these again," she said softly. "That's a good sign," I replied. We opened the pages together. Campus pictures, class schedules, programs. It felt like we were stepping into the future again. A future she had pushed far away. Now she was slowly pulling it back toward her. She traced the picture of a science lab with her finger. "I still want to be here one day." "And you will," I said. She looked at me carefully. "Do you really believe that?" "Yes," I said firmly. "I believe you are strong. You didn't quit on yourself. You made a hard choice for your future. That takes courage." She looked down with a shy smile. "I hope I become someone strong, someone helpful." "You already are," I told her. She took a deep breath. "Mom, thank you for everything. For not leaving me alone. For not judging me. For staying with me when I felt like the world was falling apart." I reached across the table and held her hand. "That's what mothers do. We walk with our children through the fire." "But some mothers don't," she whispered. "I'm lucky." Her words hit me deep. Later that day, she asked if we could go for a walk outside. The weather was nice, so we went. She walked slowly at first, but after a few minutes, her steps became steady. Birds were chirping. Cars moved by. Kids laughed in the distance. Life was normal. And for the first time, Maya felt normal inside it. "Mom," she said, "I don't want this moment to define me." "It won't," I said. "You define yourself." She nodded. "I want to live better now. I want to be careful. I want to be wiser. And you will be," I said. We kept walking. She breathed in the fresh air deeply. She lifted her face toward the sunlight. A small smile touched her lips. "Mom." "Yes? I feel like I'm finally coming back." "I know," I said. "I can see it." Her steps grew lighter. Her shoulders relaxed. Her eyes had a little shine again. She wasn't the same girl she was before all of this. She was stronger, softer, wiser, and she was moving forward. Together, we walked home not as two broken people, but as two people who survived something heavy and came out closer than ever. If this story touched your heart, hit subscribe Cairo Tales and stay with us for more.